We are happy to have you here this afternoon to address you very shortly. But before I do that, let me do a brief introduction here. We have very senior people with us here this afternoon, and I'll introduce them, and then our minority leader would come to address us. Seated here with us is our Deputy Minority Leader in Parliament, our mother, the hardworking Madam Honorable Patricia Epieje is with us. Seated by her is the Ashanti Regional Chairman of our party, the very popular Wuntumi is here. Also, I see my good brother, former MP for Yendi, my brother Aliu Mahama is here. Farouk Aliu Mahama is here. Of course, the hardworking Minority Chief Whip, Deputy Minority Chief Whip is here. My good brother Jerry Ahmed is here. The national organizer of our party, Nanabi, is here. Henry Nanabochi is here with us. And of course, my old deputy is here. George Krobia Ashanti is here. The Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, is here. And of course, the man to address you this evening, the minority leader of the New Patriotic Party, the Honorable Osahini Alexander Apenyo Marken, is here to address you. And as you know, we, going forward, will be engaging you, and often maybe on Sundays, and it will be a partnership between the party and our caucus in Parliament. And so I am to serve this notice for you that going forward, you'll be seeing this partnership between the party and the minority caucus in Parliament working closely to advance the advocacy of the people of Ghana, and we always will invite you to join us. So at this point, without taking too much of your time, let me welcome to the podium the minority leader of Ghana's Parliament, the Honorable Osahini Alexander Apenyo Marken, to address you.
Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Thank you for responding to our invitation upon a very short notice. This evening, I am privileged to have been nominated by the party to address you on this all-important matter that borders on our constitution. One of our own, Kwame Bafo Abronye, has been arrested, remanded by a court, which is supposed to be a court of justice under normal circumstances. The party considers this a constitutional outrage. The arrest itself, the so-called prosecution, and the remand. But before I set in motion the submission of the party expressing its view on this disturbing matter, let me refer to the 2015-2016 One Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report, specifically at page 175 in the matter of Martin Pegu number 2 versus the Attorney General number 2 in writ number J1/13/2025. This reported case was delivered on 5th May 2016. I shall rely on the general view of the courts in their declaration. Quote, Article 19C of the 1992 Constitution has given a suspect under investigation or an accused on trial the benefit that he was innocent until the court had found him guilty after a hearing or following a plea of guilty. The grant of bail was one of the tools available to the court to ensure that a suspect or an accused, as the case might be, was guaranteed his innocence until the court had found him guilty. The presumption of innocence in terms of Article 19(2)(c) of the Constitution embodied freedom from arbitrary detention and also served as a safeguard against punishment before conviction. It also served as a preventive measure against the state from successfully employing its vast resources to cause greater damage to a person who has not been convicted than he could inflict on the community. Therefore, any legislation outside said so that would be clearly contrary to the letter and spirit of Article 19(2)(c), which has guaranteed his innocence until otherwise declared by a court of competent jurisdiction. End quote. And specifically, my Lord Doche, JSC, who was part of the majority at page 176 of the law report, said in these veritable words, which I quote, Article 19(2)(c) of the Constitution takes precedence in the laws of Ghana, and any law found to be inconsistent to this constitutional provision must, on the basis of Article 2(1)(a) and 131(b) of the Constitution of 1992, give way and be declared inconsistent and in contravention of the Constitution 1992. In my opinion, Section 96(7) of Act 30 as amended is one such legislation that is inconsistent with the Constitution. The general tenor of Section 96 of Act 30, which deals with grant of bail in general, therefore gives very clear indications. On the whole, the courts have a discretion to grant bail to persons appearing before them in criminal cases upon conditions stated therein. The absence of grant of bail in Section 96(7) is therefore odd and unnecessary interference with the discretion of the courts. The lead judgment of the court delivered by my brother Benin JSC, striking down 96(7) of Act 30 as amended as unconstitutional, in which I concur, is not a carte blanche for the court to admit every Tom, Dick, and Harry to bail pending trial, because the removal of the statutory shackles in the impugned Section 96(7) of Criminal Code Offences Act 1960, Act 30. On the strength of these, I set in motion the concerns of the party in respect of the remand of Kwame Bafo Abronye, our Bono regional chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, the party is here deeply troubled by what is happening in our country. What has been done to Mr. Kwame Bafo Abronye, also known as Abronye DC, our Bono regional chairman, is a profound constitutional wrong. It must be condemned without equivocation, without apology, and without delay. The arrest itself, the prosecution and remand of a citizen for words spoken in the public square is not justice. It is persecution. Now, let me be honest about where the party stands. The party does not condone irresponsible speech. We never do, and we never will. Public discourse carries responsibility, and we believe deeply in that. Where speech genuinely damages a person's reputation, Ghanaian law already provides a remedy, a civil remedy, measured, proportionate, and designated precisely for that purpose. It's been designed to achieve one aim, to allow a person who is injured to resort to civil reliefs. But what Ghanaian law does not provide, and what it was never designed to provide, is the conversion of a civil grievance, assuming without admitting that one even exists in this case, into a criminal prosecution. It does not authorize the marching of a man before a circuit court, the stripping of his liberty, and his consignment to state intelligence facility. That is not justice. That is the iron fist of state power wearing a legal glove. On the 13th of May 2026, Mr. Abronye was arraigned before Circuit Court 9 here in Accra. He faces 2 counts. First, offensive conduct conducive to breach of the peace under Section 2071 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960. Second, publication of false news under Section 2081 of the same statute. And what is the foundation of these charges? A social media video in which Mr. Abronye criticized a circuit court judge. He questioned that judge's impartiality. He questioned the conduct in the discharge of the public duty as provided for in the judge's judicial function. That is the sum total of his alleged crime. He spoke. He criticized a public officer. By the way, since when did criticizing a judge become a criminal offense in Ghana? Section 2071 requires conduct that is likely to occasion a breach of the peace. Political criticism of a public official, however sharp, does not meet that threshold. It is protected expression under Article 21(1)(a) of the 1992 Constitution. And the false news charge? A man expressing a political opinion about judicial conduct is not publishing false news, not by any honest reading of that provision. This prosecution of Abronye is built on sand, and we, the party, will watch it fall. The bail denial. A judge who forgot his oath. By the way, that was not his first. Let me turn to what happened in that courtroom. It demands its own separate and pointed rebuke. Counsel for Mr. Abronye presented a bail application. He argued on solid grounds. The charges, as we all know, are misdemeanors. The accused, as it was made known to the court, has a fixed place of abode. He is a known public figure with reliable sureties. His health and family responsibilities were placed before the court. The prosecution opposed bail on one ground only: that Mr. Abronye, if released, was likely to commit similar offenses. I repeat, according to the prosecution, in opposing the bail application, it said that if Mr. Abronye is released, he was likely to commit similar offenses. In other words, the state asked the court to imprison a man before any findings of guilt because he might speak again. His offense was speaking. And surprisingly, a court agreed. A citizen was therefore imprisoned, not for what he did, but for what he might say. That is not law. That is censorship from the bench. That reasoning is a constitutional disgrace. It is irreconcilable with Article 14 and 19 of the 1992 Constitution, which guarantee personal liberty and the presumption of innocence. A judge who denies bail because an accused may continue to express political opinions has not administered justice. I say what I'm about to say as a practicing lawyer, as someone who has spent his professional life in courtrooms, who has profound respect for our judiciary and deep admiration for those who carry the weight of dispensing justice. I say this not in anger, but in fidelity to the Constitution I have sworn to uphold, and with all the candor, humility, and respect I can command. When a court denies bail not to serve justice, but to serve silence, it has administered political censorship from the bench, and that, with the greatest respect, is a betrayal of every principle that gives judicial office its authority, its dignity, and its legitimacy. Now, let me specifically deal with the nature of the remand. It was a BNI remand, and indeed, even so, there is a missing court order. No court order drawn. Every remaining doubt about the political character of this prosecution is removed by the decision to remand Mr. Abronye into BNI custody. The BNI, by law, is Ghana State Intelligence and Security Service. It is not a remand prison. It exists to address genuine threat to national security. Mr. Abronye posted a critical video about a judge. That is not a national security matter. It never was. This has nothing to do with the criminal justice and everything to do with political intimidation. But there is something even more alarming. I want every Ghanaian to hear this clearly. Even those who hate the guts of Abronye must at least listen to this matter. It has now been 4 days since the court pronounced the remand order. 4 days, as I understand it, on the basis of information available to the party at the time of this statement. Counsel moved up and down the courtroom, the registry, demanding for certified remand order. The court order, as at Friday, has still not been drawn. I therefore simply ask a simple question. On what legal basis did the Ghana Police Service take Abronye into custody and conveyed him to the BNI? On what legal basis did the BNI accept and held him? A remand order is not a verbal instruction. It is a formal judicial instrument. It is a written legal authority upon which the deprivation of a citizen's liberty must rest. Was a Ghanaian citizen delivered into intelligence custody on nothing more than a word of mouth? If so, that detention has no documented lawful foundation whatsoever. So I ask again, the Director General of BNI, did you receive any court order accompanying Abronye's detention? If so, can you provide a copy? If not, why did you accept him? And I ask my Lord, if my Lord thinks he is bold enough, why is he running away from his own court order? By the way, that Circuit Court 9 records are immediately tied. As you are making your submissions, the clerk is typing. So within 5 minutes after court, the records of court must be ready. Why has it taken days? And as at close of business Friday, the order was still not ready. What is the judge trying to tell us? Is he trying to change what he has said in open court? That Abronye should remain in custody until the case is finally determined. not even to the next agenda date. His language was clear. Is he running away from his own language? Is he afraid of public outrage against his own conduct? Article 14 of the 1992 Constitution requires that no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty except as permitted by law, and that every arrested person shall be informed immediately in a language he understands of the reasons of his arrest. The Constitution therefore puts before the Ghana Police Service, the Bureau of National Investigation, as well as that Circuit Court 9, which was supposed to be presided over by a judge who has taken a judicial oath, a clear and unambiguous notice of the civil liberties provided for by the Constitution. These are rights guaranteed, far rights. The production of a signed and certified remand order is not a technicality. It is a constitutional imperative. Its absence, if confirmed, would rather render this detention not merely improper but unlawful. What we are witnessing is either a crass dereliction of duty or a raw and deliberate exercise of power designed to show a political opponent where the power lies, with due process and afterthoughts. So the NDC party functionaries who are encouraging this, you should know that your 4 years is now left with some 2.5 years. Your time will come. Those judges should know that President Mohammed's tenure will soon come to an end. They should know this, that God willing, 2028 will be Dr. Bawumia's turn. Indeed, we are reminding them that neither explanation is acceptable in a constitutional democracy. Both demand accountability. Now we see the ghost of criminal libel coming back, buried by Kufuor, but resurrected by President Mahama. There's a deeper dimension to what this government is doing, and it must be named plainly. On 27 July 2001, Ghana's parliament unanimously passed the Criminal Code Act 2001, Act 602, which repealed the criminal libel and seditious laws. President John Agyekum Kufuor gave his assent on 2nd August 2001, striking from our statute books one of the most notorious instruments of state censorship this country had ever known. That repeal was a defining moment in Ghana's democratic maturation, a declaration that in free society, the state has no business imprisoning citizens for what they say. The bill was presented to Parliament by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Attorney General as he then was. The world applauded. Ghana was held up as a model for Africa. But before we go further, let me be precise about one important historical fact. The criminal libel law was not created by the PNDC or NDC. It is a colonial inheritance drafted in 1893 by the British colonial administrators and embedded in our statute books to suppress dissent against imperial rule. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our first president, inherited it at independence. It was codified in our Criminal Offences Act 1960. The law predated the Rawlings era by decades. But what history will never forgive the PNDC and NDC for is this. They weaponized that colonial relic most ferociously, most systematically, and with the greatest cruelty against the citizens of a free Ghana. Under PNDC military regime, of Jerry Rawlings, journalists, academics, lawyers, trade unionists, and ordinary citizens were arrested, detained without trial, and tortured for daring to speak. The culture of silence was not a metaphor. It was a lived reality enforced by brute state for power. Mr. Tommy Thompson, publisher of Free Press, and Mr. Michael J., a senior writer, in 1982, were among those imprisoned without trial for editorials critical of the PNDC. Mr. John Kublenu, the editor, was separately arrested in 1983 and detained without charge before being transferred to Insawam prison. He died in 1984. Shortly after his release, his health destroyed by the conditions of his detention. He was never charged. He was never tried. He simply died for daring to write. Tommy Thompson himself continued to face harassment and repeated prosecution and died in 1998. His death, a direct consequence of brutalities he endured in his long fight for press freedom. 2 men, 2 deaths. The blood is on the hands of that regime. Abdul Malik Kwekubaku Jr. was arrested and tortured under the PNDC. He has spoken publicly about being made to crawl the full length of Military Parade Square on his knees until they bled, about being caned on his waist, about 25 days at the Fields Engineers facility that left him physically impacted, about losing control of his bodily function for days on end, all for speaking truth to power. Kwesi Pratt Jr. was jailed and tortured during that same period. So was Akotampa and many others whose names history has not fully preserved. Then came the NDC in constitutional form. And even under the democratic dispensation, the party found uses for the criminal libel law it had inherited. On 23 July 1998, 2 of Ghana's most respected newspaper editors, the same Abdul Malik Kwekubaku Jr. of The Guide and Alhaji Haruna Atta of Weekend Statement, were convicted by the Court of Appeal and sentenced to 1 month in prison. Their crime? Publishing a story about the former First Lady. They were dispatched to separate prisons, Akuse, Winneba, and Anumabo, in a deliberate attempt to break their spirits and prevent visits from supporters. Images of Kwekubaku and Haruna Atta in handcuffs being marched to prison are etched in the collective memory of every Ghanaian who loves freedom. In 1996, editors Nana Kofi Kumsin of the Ghanaian Chronicle, Ebenezer Kwaku, and Tommy Thompson of the Free Press were arrested and charged with publishing false news with intent to injure the reputation of the state. Those exact words, publishing false news, the same statutory weapon this government is now deploying against Abronye. And when the court came to repeal the criminal libel law, the then NDC chairman, Obed Yawasamwa, who had also served as Attorney General under Rawlings government, declared publicly that the law could be repealed over his dead body. Over his dead body. That is the NDC's historic relationship with free speech. That is the tradition President Mahama now chooses to continue. The NPP abolished the law that the NDC swore to keep. And now the NDC is quietly rebuilding what the NPP tore down. Now the Mahama administration, unable to openly reverse that landmark reform without international condemnation, has chosen a more cunning path. Rather than restore criminal libel by name, it is reconstructing the criminal libel regime in practice, hiding behind sections 207 and 208 of Act 29 to achieve through the back door what it cannot defend through the front. The charges against Abronye, Baba Amando, David Esando, and others are in substance and in effect criminal libel prosecutions. The only difference is the label on the charge sheet. The intent is the same. The mechanism is the same. the consequence is the same: arrests, remand, imprison, silence. President Kufuor abolished criminal libel to set Ghana free. President Mahama is rebuilding it brick by brick to cage opposition. So I ask President Mahama, is this the legacy your second coming is leaving Ghanaians with? I pray it is a no. When civil remedies exist, criminal prosecution is a political choice. I repeat, when civil remedies exist by law, criminal prosecution is a political choice. And that is the choice this government has made. I made this point earlier in these proceedings when I started. And I return to it now because it deserves to be stated plainly and in its full legal force. Ghanaian law already provides a civil remedy for any person who genuinely believes they have been defamed. It has always been there. It exists today. The aggrieved party may approach the civil courts. They may sue. They may place their case before a judge. They may walk away with their reputation vindicated and with damages in hand. Not a single arrest is required for any of that. Not a single bail application. Not a single remand into BNI custody. The civil law achieved the stated objective, the vindication of reputation, without any of those consequences. This government knows that, or ought to know that. Its lawyers know that, or ought to know that. The prosecution officers know that, or ought to know that by their training. And yet, case after case, the criminal route is chosen over the civil one. That choice is not a legal necessity. It is a deliberate political decision. And the purpose it serves is not the vindication of any reputation. It is the suppression of voices. When you want to protect your name, you go to the civil courts. When you want to punish and silence an opponent, you send the police. This government has made a choice, not once, not twice, but repeatedly and with a purpose. The Ghanaian people can see it exactly for what it is. Now we can see a pattern, not an incident. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, let no one tell you this is an isolated case. The arrest of NPP members for things they have said or posted in public are too numerous to catalogue here. We have documented case after case since this administration assumed office on 7 January 2025. The list grows longer by the week. Let me mention just a few. David Esando, NPP Aguna West constituency organizer, arrested by approximately 10 armed national security operatives. His crime? Posting an image of President Mahama with the caption, "Dumso is back." But isn't Dumso back? 10 armed officers for a Facebook post about electricity outages afflicting millions of Ghanaians. Then Mr. Abubakar Yakubu, NPP Sunyani East Communications Officer, popularly known as Baba Amando, arraigned before an Accra Circuit Court, remanded, charged with offensive conduct, false publication and circulation of statements likely to incite fear and panic. The same judge, Circuit Court 9, the Agenda Court, the NDC Court. And let me repeat it. That NDC judge, he must be ashamed of himself. Mr. Alfred Abebi Okumi, known as Adente Kumi, was arrested by operatives of the National Investigation Bureau in a dramatic dawn raid on his home. His wife suffered a miscarriage as a direct consequence of that raid. His crime? Submitting a petition to the president concerning the conduct of committee members sitting on the Chief Justice removal proceedings and making comment in media interviews and on social media about the same matter. He was formally charged with publication of false news under the same statutory provision being used against Abronye today. And there's a case of Reverend Intim Fojo, a member of Parliament for Asin South, and a ranking member of Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. This is a sitting member of Parliament, a duly elected representative of the people. Again, BNI operatives attempted a raid on his residence after he raised concerns about 2 aircraft that visited Ghana and alleged possible links to drug dealings and money laundering. It took his colleagues in the minority caucus to physically resist attempted arrests. Dr. Baumia, our flag bearer, himself had to visit him to reassure him that a member of parliament should require reassurance that he remains free after raising matters of national security concern in the discharge of his public duty is a statement of the most alarming kind about where this country is headed. And now Abronye, remanded into BNI custody for criticizing a judge. There are no isolated incidents. They are selected examples from a deeply troubling and growing list. That judge has no respect for his own judicial oath. I don't think he read the law. That circuit court 9 judge, I have no respect for him. For a judge to say that he's remanding Abronye into BNI custody until the case is finally determined, such a judge can never have my respect. I pray that he summons me for contempt. I will continue to disrespect him until he upholds the law. He's gone beyond his judicial function, and it is not his first. It's as if he has been selected purposely to achieve this. He doesn't talk law. I don't know whether he ever passed his law exam. It's a shame. It's a shame on the judiciary. And my Lord Bafuboni must pay attention to this. For whatever it is, it's about his legacy. I'm told by December he will be 70 and he will be gone. Is that a legacy he wants to leave? After Tokonu was booted out of office and all manner of accusation leveled against Tokonu, is that the judiciary? The judiciary, they said they were going to reset. Is that a reset where a judge will say he is remanding an accused? Because if he allows him to go home, if he grants him bail, he is likely to talk again. So he should remain in custody. In fact, at first, his pronouncement was that Abronye should go to Nsawam until the case is finally determined. He's already prejudiced the outcome of the case. And this man says he's a judge. I should respect him. No way. And Sanfu say, Yediche. Eyenim gwase papa. Ebufusem. Our flag bearer, Dr. Muhammadu Barumia, has rightly described as an unholy collaboration, this conduct, between the executive, state investigative agencies, and some element within the judiciary aimed at silencing the NPP. He is right. More than right. The pattern is undeniable. This is state-sponsored political persecution, and it must stop. Now, a word to the judiciary. You are to be the guardian of liberty, not instrument of power. I now address you, my respected learned members of the bench, and I've used respected advisedly. And I do so with gravity. This moment demands. The 1992 Constitution, my lords, vests judicial power in your hands as the judiciary and charges you with a solemn mandate to be independent guardians of the rights and liberties of the Ghanaian people. Article 1253 declares that judicial power of Ghana shall be vested in the judiciary. Article 127 fortifies that with the guarantee of independence. These are not ceremonial provisions. They are the constitutional foundation upon which every citizen's liberty ultimately rest. It is with the deepest concern that this party NPP observe how the courts have conducted itself in this matter. A bail application grounded on orthodox legal principle was dismissed on a basis that no serious reading of Article 14 and 19 of the Constitution can sustain. A citizen has been remanded into the custody of an intelligence service on misdemeanor charges. What has happened to the old principle of law? That should all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. Under his lordship, Bafuboni's leadership, you are guilty before you are pronounced guilty. You are guilty before full trial. So my Lord Bafuboni, Embredudua waye judge, anyamia dum, omutu tokonu yaya ubedi Chief Justice. Sadia we na wudija Ghana. Ninkwasi my Lord. Bieweni na hwe de ekofom, ekoso wo fomo. Se judge otumika se obi nko remand. So say yebedi na se mewie. Ekumu nyamo enimu ase. Supreme Court judges, Court of Appeal judges, High Court judges. Monsori nkasa. Na de ekoso no ekumu nyamo enimu ase. Ye de mo a mo begumu hu fi no. Ye mpampa mo ye be kasa, mo pe amon remand yen. Mo pe mo nka contempt na mo fa yen ko prison. Ye be ko insho. Ye na nanu mo o mo de party be bo ase no. They went through similar ordeal and never broke them. At every turn, the scales have tilted not towards the protection of liberty, but toward its curtailment. A court that allows itself to become a tool for silencing political opponents has ceased to be a guardian of liberty. It has become a participant in its destruction. I am aware of the climate in which our judiciary is operating. I am aware that this is a government that has shown it is capable of defiling our constitution to haul a sitting Chief Justice out of office. I am also aware that some members of the judiciary may be afraid. They look at what was done to Chief Justice Tokonu and ask themselves whether standing up for the constitution is worth the personal costs. I can understand that fear. But there are some also who are still wearing partisan colors and are refusing to look at the law, and they are bent on taking backdoor instruction from the executive to do their bidding. Those must change their attitude and respect the human rights of every Ghanaian, irrespective of their party color. The people of Ghana look to the courts as a last line of defense when the executive overreaches. The trust is earned by the fearless and impartial application of constitutional principles, especially when the person before the court is politically convenient to those in power. A judge who surrenders to fear and becomes a timorous soul, too intimidated to defend the constitution and the rights it protects, is no longer a judge. He has become an instrument of the powerful. A court that reserves its constitutional courage for safe and inconsequential cases and abandons it precisely when it matters most has dishonored the robe. I call upon the High Court to take urgent cognizance of the circumstances of Mr. Abronye's detention, including the reported absence of a signed and certified remand order, and do the needful. Now, Ghana has been here before. The culture of silence does not announce itself with a decree. It does not arrive at your door with a proclamation. It arrives as likely like this, incrementally and surgically. A communicator of a party is arrested. An organizer is picked up there. A regional chairman is remanded into security remand. the message spreads quietly through every rank of the opposition. This is what dissent costs. The Mahama administration has calculated that intimidating NPP communicators and silencing its regional leadership will allow it to govern without accountability and shield its mounting incompetence from scrutiny. That calculation is profoundly wrong and it will fail. It will not work. The NPP will not be guarded, not by arrests, not by bail denial, not by BNI detention, not by any instrument of fear this government deploys. The freedom to speak, to criticize power, and to hold government accountable is not a privilege granted by any administration. It is a constitutional birthright, and it cannot be revoked by any government on earth. Abronya's voice may be temporarily caged. Let the government understand clearly. 1,000 voices will rise in its place. And that is not a threat from the party, but rather it is the unbreakable promise of Ghanaian democracy we are reiterating. Now our demands. We make the following demands, and they are non-negotiable. First, Mr. Kwame Bafo-Abronye might be relieved from BNI custody immediately. His detention is constitutionally indefensible and must end today. Second, our legal team will mount full constitutional challenge to this prosecution, including challenge to the application of sections 207 and 208 of Act 29 against political speech where civil liberties are available and adequate. Third, Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee shall, upon assumption of Parliament, be made through an application to summon the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of BNI to publicly account for every decision taken in this matter. The Chief Justice is not also above the law. Parliament will use every law under its command to summon the Chief Justice. They must all be answerable. And let the majority know this. In the effort by the minority in ensuring this is done, they should not try to stampede it. It is good for democracy, and we call on the majority to support it, because tomorrow they may be in opposition and they may need this very law to protect them. I repeat, for our friends in the majority in Parliament, I call for their cooperation, even as the minority summons the Chief Justice, the IGP, and the Director General BNI to appear before Parliament. They should support us. They should cooperate. It is a democratic responsibility. They shouldn't, for partisan consideration, decide to stampede us with their numbers. If they do, one day, they will regret it. If they do, they may win with their numbers. Sure. But one day, by 2029, they will be shouting on the rooftops, asking for the law to protect them. And we'll tell them that when the time came, they condoned, they connived and supported it. We pray that day will not come. We need to end this vicious cycle in our political system. It is better for this country to sit together and work around the relevant issues that would ensure the growth of our democracy. And that is our demand on the NDC today. Again, we call on civil society, independent media, and legal profession. They must add their voices now. The time to defend freedom is always before it is fully lost, never after. Again, we call upon the High Court to take urgent cognizance of Abronya's detention and the reported absence of a signed and certified remand order. The writ of habeas corpus exists for precisely this moment. The judiciary is the last line of defense, between citizens and the unchecked power of the executive. We call upon the judiciary, if indeed it is there to uphold justice, to intervene and treat it as an isolated situation. Then we can respect them, then we can trust them and believe them that it is not supported by the system as a whole. And again, the conduct of this judge at Circuit Court 9 is now a pattern. They should call him to order, and we should see a disciplinary action by the Chief Justice against this judge. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let me say on behalf of the party that the people of Ghana made a solemn covenant with themselves and with history. They said, never again shall the machinery of state be turned against citizens' right to speak. Never again shall political opinion be treated as criminal conduct. Never again shall the instrument of national security be weaponized to detain political opponents for the convenience of a certain government. And to those in this government, I repeat, who believe they can abuse power without consequence, I say this clearly and on record. The day of justice and accountability will come. It will come under this parliament or the next, but it will come. That is not a promise. That is a constitutional certainty. We built this democracy to last. We will defend it in the same courts where there seem to be some injustice. In parliament, where there is advocacy of the people. And in the full glare of public opinion like this platform, the party has chosen to speak, with every constitutional weapon at our very disposal. The culture of silence bill asem zo ya oye New Patriotic Party amayoko yezi enyibir na roho na yehu ne hia nda koside nwure ya samara ni de sabio se obiri ya se bia onfata ayan party ni yemfo do de sebe obi nkesha horoba anon kese nchi obi na mbom wo Ghana mbremen so bi kakase bi na onsam fata was not from Brakwando sebe maya constitution aka no so bi kase chio bi iwo kebmemin kedma won bon kwedu won fa no court za ye hunyi de NDC fo since awoba abenum dem kwedu bo na woti riye dwuma sebe obi kase wo NPP na wonyimdo ohonwana na was unrunran yani won kase za man na koside ye hye wa hin de yen bono regional chairman a wo friend abronye a police force okakase ti a judge bi na kase okakase chair no was in a court oyahwe wako okodu court no judge a otne gum na asam nye de se woma abronye bela anhwa na wakakase bio it was ordinary to fiase ordinary to prison until the wobezi asem na ewie na wombreme no se wombu ufo a intu monkovia efiase na judge na asem na rank ewie nanso edikan ezinyimpa na akoto remand ona make dikan kade wo ya ye Supreme Court oye onyimnyamfo Martin Kpebu oye lawyer mbre bi abasen kodam nsami wo ma bail wo ba ma bail wo ma bail wo ba ma bail onunti odasam ko free court ama Supreme Court ka say ka de bi bail say unhia de oye de was manyimpa osande until de nyimpa no wo bezi na asem ewe bu no fon intum nka de it no court to fiaze na za punish nti bail asem zo ya za what can asem that the court ibio ye wo offenses bi obaka de odama bonize nanu ye show ne ye wo za bronyi kade misdemeanor o cheda oye bibi kitikiti bia onya za oye hu na za wasa abronya akoye okadam misdemeanor ayi embrano hu nti sadamu mpo a ba didn't know that judge kade ozno ko to prison ozigan kade ozno ko nsawom ansana bi o kade ozno ko ayi bna fitida omani ruling there ozno ko to remand none court odempo onto me sign meanwhile court dem one onye manual court or a digital court erikase nyina no will type into within 5 minutes after proceedings or there at least clerk and autumn print judge why is serious on ejumum within 5 minutes or do to can none ruling no na o sign as a defeated yumbri na nankasa ruling pon sign into questioner and people be saying there BNI fo was it abronya call one channel eba krata no zechi police fo no so was it abronya call BNI eba krata na was ye ngina do ana anu keke na was ken onu nti yan kasa ni wie yanyi de o man pan mahama yankopon na adom inyo bia no nya second chance presidency inyo bia no nya second chance adom keke ito o man pan mahama yesre aka won fi beye ebien na fa na zi wedwuma abewie yi yankopon na adom ma woso asom woman for them 8 years na order wa komado iti jewechiye o man pay mahama ya sam nyi de jewechiye na ochina o pa bibi tuwa ochina bi nyi wa Ghana wobobo wuzin was akasam na bia na ifo na judges na police fo no enziye bia wo ye se ma wanyu nko ho se nyim ho hwea ma wanyu nko ho o man pay mahama yenuanum so wo NDC mo onye hon daw de inde oye NPP ni na ochina wo ho na no otumfo se embre ni zen emimenti twi no mezenye fante otumfo ose embre eni nkaso enti yenuanum a wo parliament oye NDC fo parliament boye ya woda yebo someone in minority yebo someone BNI director general IGP no only chief justice that the judge na all ya damazin yam hwene yan kan asam abronya na asam no yanda wo ho na wona wo invoke them section 207 na 208 ne pede ya kan asam yesterday yanuanum NDC for our parliament one boy na yam fa ye into ye dem brebe ye ochine bi ababy ba na someone so wo position na wo di wona asam ya ye a otedama we tum we use mbra no na was age won fa husi na so why watching there business as usual why politics into one man kon because they have to take yanze yenyitum yabaka na was one numbers what they win vote but one came who there so one supporting na yentum yamfanza man 2 year ya ochine bi na power bi aba because already no they are on their way out why wonyim the 2028 we lose one wonyim inti him dey go lose election 2028 na him dey president Mahama on babio os nejuma benewie yi it is your own interest the injustice bi a ehun ndan eba to tuni yi am ochine bi e minister na ko wa homjima I assured there embra bi o ho a obo protect na so wanya na dama on is a ware o Where? Yes, that's
And then they brought him to Accra. That was the information we had. We had several calls from the constituency, from the region. And this morning, the General Secretary leading the team, we combed around all the security institutions in Accra. We went to police CID. In fact, even at the police CID, we went to the Special Investigation Unit. Before that, we had visited the Cybercrime Unit. And all of them denied knowledge of the whereabouts of David Esando. All of them. Then we had a hint that he could be at BNI. Again, we went to the BNI, led by the General Secretary. We sat there for a while. They said they were checking. And we had reports that, he was not with BNI. Then we went to National Security. At National Security, when they checked, they said he was not there. But then we went to their SWAT unit, and it was confirmed to us that Signals Bureau undertook these operations. We again went to Signal Bureau, and we were told that they brought him to BNI. Look, is this happening under President Mahama? I'm surprised that President Mahama is so pretending over such oppression, such suppression of free speech. And that can be a memo no yesini trase. Moja nyununo. And when and nessa ye chiri obi a ye chire ne se wako posti se Dumso is back. How? And Ghana. This is where we are. And then we eventually went to National Security, where we were told that he's been brought there. They interrogated him, and he was granted bail. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not in good times at all. Let me, on this note, welcome our leader who led us through all of this. From morning till now, we've been coming. Let's welcome the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party to address us on this issue. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen from the media, we thank you for your patience in waiting that seeks to undermine our democracy, that seeks to undermine our rule of law. We kept you waiting because we wanted to have more information as to the whereabouts of our constituency organizer for Aguna West. Just as the national organizer enumerated to you. Last night, we received a desperate call from the regional party, led by the regional chairman, that their constituency officer have been kidnapped by some group of men who came to his shop, and they had no knowledge of where they were sending him to. In fact, throughout the night, we made several calls from the regional police command, the regional BNI, all the security apparatus in the region, and went further to contact the various headquarters of the security agencies. Then we said, let's wake up in the morning and follow up as to what was really happening. Indeed, to our dismay and alarmingly shocking, and a serious indictment on our democracy was when we went to all these security agencies and none of them could tell us the whereabouts of the constituency organizer for Aguna West. Indeed, we went to the police CID because originally they had invited him to appear before them on what the national organizer referred to the publication of, the allegedly publication of false news. And the CID claimed they had no knowledge about the said invitation, and they had not indeed effected any arrest to the extent of even detaining him. Then from the CID headquarters, we came to the Bureau of National Investigation, and again, there too, they sounded very dismayed that they had no knowledge about the whereabouts of our constituency organizer, David Esando. We proceeded to the National Security also, and they also made a further statement that they have no knowledge about where he was. Then to the National Signal Bureau. And they also denied knowledge of the whereabouts of the constituency organizer. But because we also, as a political party, deals with intel, eventually we were able to ascertain that our brother was being held at the National Signal Bureau and was soon transferred to BNI. Ladies and gentlemen, the danger and the dangerous precedent that this government is setting is to give room for bad and people with malicious intention to have the appetite to kidnap people in this country. Because today Ghanaians are living in fear. Because tomorrow you don't know who will show up in front of your house to detain you or to arrest you and to take you to unknown places. Because state security institutions, which are supposed to protect the liberty of individuals, who are supposed to guarantee our peaceful existence, claim not to have knowledge of whereabouts of citizens. Eventually, when they realized that what they were doing was illegal and unconstitutional, we were told that he was at BNI. So we went there, and I must commend the officers there that they did their professional job. They interviewed him, they took his statement, and they gave a caution statement for us to sign, for them to release him for us. Indeed, tomorrow they've asked that we go back to them at 9:30 in the morning, which the New Patriotic Party will honor such an invitation. Let it be on record that as a political party that believes in rule of law, as a political party that believes in democracy, as a political party that believes in due process, we are not scared of our members being invited, even being arrested or being detained. But it must be done in the right procedural manner. It must be done in the right procedural manner. Because there's a reason why our Constitution, Article 14, talks about where a person is arrested, detained. There should be communicated to the person the reason for his arrest or detention and the right of him to have a lawyer of his choice. But when our brother was arrested or in quote kidnapped, he was not told of the crime that he has committed and was denied access to a lawyer. And this is something that we want to bring into our attention. That let us not continue to remain quiet and silent about the barbaric activities and actions of this government. Because tomorrow the table will turn. And to be the same media who will be in the forefront accusing our government that we are rich hunting people. Meanwhile, they have set the precedence. And this is not the country that we all wish for. At least after PNDC era where people were abducted and disappeared, we've gone far as a country. Why does His Excellency President Mahama and the NDC want to take us back? It's a shame to our democracy. And as a political party, we will in the coming weeks be engaging members of the diplomatic corps. We'll be engaging the Christian Council, the Islamic communities, all stakeholders in this country, that our democracy is being attacked by the NDC. In fact, our democracy is under attack by the NDC. And all of us, it bestows on all of us to rise up, to defend our democracy. It bestows on all of us to safeguard our democracy. Because as a country, as I indicated, we've come from far. And we don't need to go back to the days whereby people will be abducted or kidnapped and they will disappear. We don't need to get to that point. And I want to use this opportunity to assure the rank and file of our party that we will never leave them behind. The new patriotic leadership will never leave them behind. Anyone who is maliciously arrested or detained, the party will come to the person's aid. We will never leave them behind. And indeed, I want to also assure them, whenever you are arrested or detained, don't panic. Don't panic. And don't make any statement to whoever arrests or detain you until you have your lawyer beside you. Because we know the modus operandi of the NDC, their actions is just to employ diversionary tactics. When there are major issues confronting the country, they want to divert attention so that people will not talk about it. But the new patriotic party will continue to expose them and talk about the mishappenings in the country. It's something that we will do. So I encourage our members that they should continue to be bold. They should continue to speak their truth. They should continue to expose the mishappenings in the country. And we can assure them that the party leadership will always be with them. So we thank you very much for joining us this evening. And as we can see, our brother is in good spirit. He's doing very well. And he will not relax. He will continue to do the work as a political person. He will continue to do the work as a member of the new patriotic party. And no amount of intimidation will coerce him into submission. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
The new patriotic party, I take this opportunity to wish all our mothers, our caregivers, and nocturnal women. So far, we've been getting overwhelming positive feedback across the length and breadth of the country for the work that they are doing. Though there are few isolated challenges in some constituencies, which we know in the coming days, the various polling station elections committee and the constituency executive committees and the showing how people are participating in the polling station elections. And it gives me so much hope. It becomes so much refreshing that indeed the love is coming back and people are poised to serve the party. And I commend them for the enthusiasm and the energy that they are exhibiting in the polling station elections. And we pray that we'll be able to carry this through to the electoral area elections, the constituency elections, regional and national elections. So kudos to our party members, and please let's conduct this exercise in a free, fair and transparent manner, so that at the end of the day, it is the new patriotic party that wins. And to learn lessons from the previous polling station elections, whereby we suffered our party because people felt that they were prevented from taking part in this exercise. This is a very important opportunity for us to give every member of our party the chance to take part in this process. So kudos, and I wish all of us the best of luck in the coming days as we go through the polling station elections. Dear patriots, as we all recall, after the 2024 elections, the National Council, which is the second highest decision-making body of our party, formed a 2024 Elections Review Committee, which was chaired by Reverend Right Honorable Professor Mike Ironkwe. As part of the terms of reference of the committee, They were to conduct a comprehensive review of the party's activities across the pre-election, election, and post-election phases. Again, to identify and analyze the root causes underlying the party's performance in the 2024 election. And thirdly, to develop a strategic roadmap to reposition and rebuild the party for a decisive victory in the 2028 elections. The committee, guided by the principles to facilitate the restructuring of the new patriotic party into a modern, all-embracing, participatory, and scientifically driven political organization, address evolutionary issues and challenges that has to do with governance and national development. The committee, in so doing, identified 3 issues which culminated in our loss. 1, party issues. 2, government-related issues. And 3, campaign issues. After the committee has submitted their report, findings and recommendations to the National Council, it meant that we needed to go to the surgical room to analyze the report, review it, and to implement it to the fullest. And this led to what we refer to as the reorganization structure or activities of the party. In terms of the party issues, we all know that the new patriotic party has a tradition which came out from the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition, which forms the historical and ideological bedrock of the new patriotic party and rooted in the principles of liberal democracy, individuals, decentralization, and respect for rule of law. As a party framed as a counterweight to authoritarianism and unbridled state control, reflecting on the 2024 laws, therefore, mandated evaluating how well the party adhered to these principles and the need to identify where significantly the party departed from such set principles. As a party known historically to have intellectual appeal, forward-thinking philosophy that attracted the middle class, businessmen and women, youth, in so doing winning elections in various universities and other tertiary institutions. The question is, how come we lost all this group? At the end of the day, the party lost in 2024 elections did not just happen one day. It happened because over the years, as a political party, we departed from our ideologies and tradition. And our loss in 2024 was a testimony and summation of years of departure from our DNA. That is who we are and what we stood for as a political party. The first thing the party did to address these issues of bringing back our ideology and philosophy was the establishment of what we refer to as the Patriotic Institute, which is to provide training for members and elected officers and also to carry out research to inform all research decisions that the party will undertake. By so doing, we will always know who we are, where we have come from, where we are heading to, and how to get there. It is not strange that people join the new patriotic party, and when they do not get what they want, in the shortest time, they tend to leave. The Patriotic Institute will help us to emulate the selflessness of the party's founders' ideology, whereby we have people such as S.D. Dombo, who was the leader of the Northern People's Party with 11 seats in parliament, to give opportunity to Dr. K.A. Buzia, who had only 1 seat to lead the opposition in parliament. Again, for us to position ourselves and to win the elections in 2028, the new patriotic party needs to go back to our roots, to the root whereby people associated the NPP for having appeal to various classes in the society, whereby people were so proud to say that they are members of the New Patriotic Party because we had the men. And this is what we have been doing since 2025 to bring back the love to the New Patriotic Party. And this necessitated in us doing constitutional amendment in July 2025. The essence of the constitutional amendment that took place in Legon, one, was for the party to expand our electoral college. And the essence of expanding our electoral college was to address the issue of apathy, which we suffered in 2024 elections. The reason being that there were several people who felt that after having served the party in various capacities as constituency officers, as former members of parliament, as parliamentary candidates, as MMDCs, they did not have a voting right. This singular act, whereby they were given the opportunity to take part in our presidential primaries, re-energized the base of our party, and now people feel that they are part of our party electoral process. And in so doing, those who hitherto did not take part in the 2024 elections have a reason to take part in the 2028 election because the party has recognized them. One key feature in our amendment that we did as a political party was to expand our electoral college at the polling station officers from 5 to 7, with the introduction of the electoral affairs officers and communication officers. And for the first time, we are electing our communication officers. All these are part of the party's reorganizational structure and to make sure that we position ourselves for victory in 2028. A key feature in the amendment also saw in the establishment of the Communications Committee of the National Council. This is something that the party had never had. And in our attempt to address issues of communication gap, whereby people know that when it comes to record, the New Patriotic Party is on march in our political landscape, but the issue has always been the delivery and how to communicate our achievement. With the formation of the Communications Committee, the party is making that attempt to address the historical issues and challenges that our forefathers in the UGCC era, the PFP era, in the UP era, in the NPP era suffered, whereby we were unable to counter and defend the propaganda from our political opponents. With the establishment of the Communications Committee, it means that we have people who will sit back, analyze our communication structure, come up with proactive structures and policies that will help us to define, in terms of our communication space, what we need to do as a political party. And we are very sure that going forward, people will see a different communication strategy from the New Patriotic Party, whereby it is done in the scripted manner for all of us to follow, so that we sing the same song and be able to stand up to the test of time when it comes to communication. Again, one feature in the amendment that we did as a political party to make sure that we address all the internal issues is the establishment of what we refer to as the strategic committee. And the essence of the party strategic committee is to have a group of think tanks who will think for the party in the short term, medium term, and long term, whereby it will not be that we win elections and as a party we forget that we have another elections coming up. And with the establishment of the party strategic committee, all these issues are addressed so that as a political party that we are guided by a blueprint on what we have to do in the short, medium, and long term. Again, the party has also created what we refer to as the Electoral Affairs Committee. And it's very important that as a political party, we have an Electoral Affairs Committee to look at our electoral fortunes, to look at historical electoral performance of our political party, and also future elections on what we need to do in even going for elections, the strategies that we need to put in place in selecting candidates for various positions, parliamentary candidates, even presidential candidates, what we need to do going forward in the future. All these are part of the structures that the party has put in place. and the lessons that we have learned from the 2024 elections. Dear patrons, preparations for 2028 elections has begun, and we are going to a contest whereby a government would have been in office for 4 years. In order for us to make history, to unseat the government which has been in government for 4 years, it means we need to do things differently. And they saw to us, for the first time, electing our presidential candidate even before party internal elections. And I quite remember when National Council met to take that decision. It was then very unpopular for many people in our party, and many people chastised us, many people insulted us, criticized us. But at the end of the day, after we stood firm and decided to hold the presidential primaries first, people are now beginning to realize, and I even realized that indeed the decision that the party took was a good decision. And we have a presidential candidate who has enough time to put in place, together with the steering committee, National Executive Committee, and National Council, a resounding, a watertight committees that will be working hand in hand to make sure that we deliver in 2028 elections. Colleagues, the essence of this engagement is to let you know that as a political party, we are working seriously to make sure that we win the elections in 2028. Last week, Thursday, the National Executive Committee and subsequently the National Council met, and in line with the party's constitution, with reference to Articles 10.6.2, form the various standing committees of the party. And with reference to Article 10.2.6, the National Council, as stated, shall have the following committees: Finance Committee, Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Organizations Committee, Research Committee, National Disciplinary Committee, Vetting Committee, Electoral Affairs Committee, Communications Committee, Political Strategy, and Policy Committee. All these committees are committees of the National Council. I've heard some comments by some members of our party as to why these committees were constituted and why didn't we wait. Colleagues, you all agree with me that after the party has done amendment to our constitution, new committees were created, and therefore it is the duty of the National Council to make sure that we populate these committees. And therefore, having the flag bearer at this important moment, we cannot say that we are waiting for a later date before we constitute this committee. Just as we constituted the committees, hitherto the party has gone further based on our amendment to allow former executives to have a voting right, which is also based on the amended constitution. And based on the same amended constitution, the polling station elections that are being conducted, the two additions that have been made, they're all going to have a voting right in the constituency election. In the same spirit, you cannot choose one and leave the other. And therefore, it is important that as a party, we have the standing committees of the National Council. And mind you, it's a political party. The National Council can, at any point in time, decide to review the membership of its standing committees. Again, we make reference to Article 10.3.8, which gives power to the National Executive Committee to also form sector committees. And colleagues, when I speak of sector committees, this is not the first time the party has created a sector committee. The sector committees of the party existed as far back as in the early 90s, between 1992 to 1993, whereby we have distinguished members of our party who were members of the sector committee. And we will project to you those who were members of the sector committees in the early 90s, so that at least for us to appreciate the essence of having sector committees in our party. Colleagues, as I indicated to you, the New Patriotic Party is a political party who has been touted as being a liberal Democrat. And these sector committees, when they were formed in 1992, and if you recall, NPP did not take part in the parliamentary elections in 1992. And in 1993, when we realized that we couldn't leave the NDC alone just to govern this country and make mistakes, we needed to have an alternative whereby we have people with integrity, with expertise to challenge the government on the various fronts in that economy. For instance, you look at the Finance and Economic Affairs Committee back in the days. The people who were membership of the committee talk about Kwame Pianim, talk about Jones Ofurata, talk about Mr. Osafo Mafo, Alhaji Dr. A.Y. Seni, you talk about Kojo Tutu, you talk about Kofi Apreku, you talk about Charles Rekubebe, and so a host of so many distinguished people. It takes you to different committees, and you see that as a party we have Constitutional and Judicial Affairs Committee with chairman as Brody Mens, we have Sechi Hughes, you have Nanado Akufo-Addo. I believe that time was a very young person that was part of that Constitutional and Legal Affairs, Madame Gloria Kufu, and a host of others, including Malik Al-Hassan, Yakubu, who were all part of these sector committees. You can go through and see the various sector committees that the party has. Foreign Affairs Committee, you talk about Mr. K. Mensah Bonsu, Mr. J. Kufuor then, as a member of that Foreign Affairs Committee, talk about E.M. Debra, talk about Kojo Afram, and so many host of people who were part of these sector committees. In 1996, between 1996 to 2000, the party again had several sector committees. We have J.H. Mensah speaking on economy. We have Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo speaking on legal affairs. Hakma Usajima speaking on housing. We have Kojo Barredu speaking on education, Professor Dominic Fobi, Kwame Battles, and those were the time that people referred to NPP as having the men. But when we won the elections in 2000, and afterwards, the sector committee never ceased to work. And that is where we are now. As a party, we are going back to our roots to make sure that we have sector committees in every sector of our economy, to take the government on, to provide constructive criticism, to offer alternative, to let Ghanaians know that indeed the NPP still have the men. And therefore, when National Council met last week Thursday, the party introduced once again what we refer to as the sector committee. And in so doing, we took cue from our party's constitution, which says that the party shall constitute a sector committees made up of people from parliament and outside parliament. And in the vision of the flag bearer and the party, we met at NEC and National Council. We deliberated upon proposals that were brought before us. And the agreement was that NPP indeed has so many expertise, have so many teeming youth who have knowledge in various fields. But therefore, at least let's give opportunity to some group of people who will become what we refer to as leads of those sector committees. And once we inaugurate the sector committees on 25th May, we have the full membership of the sector committees. So the list that came out on Thursday has to do with the leads of the various sector committees, but not the total membership of those sector committees. And pictures, I can tell you that if you look at the criteria that the party used in forming these sector committees, people were drawn from various categories. We have sitting members of parliament being part of the sector committees. We have diaspora representatives. We have people from the women's wing. We have people from the youth wing. We have people from the Nasara wing. We have former MPs. We have former ministers and deputies. We have former CEOs and appointees. We have former MMDCs, experts in the various fields, academia, and professional bodies. All these groups are those who are going to help the party to make sure that will provide policy alternative to the good people of this country. For people to understand that as a liberal democratic party, we indeed have the men. We indeed will not just criticize the NDC government for criticism's sake, but prefer alternatives. And for people to appreciate the things that the New Patriotic Party did in the early 90s in shaping our democracy and promoting good governance. And that is what we want to do as a political party. So, colleagues, I came through this evening to assure the rank and file of our members that no one will be left behind. And on 25th of May, when the party finally inaugurates the various setup committees, you will come to appreciate it. That indeed, from the social media, from the youth wing, from the women's wing, from the academia, from those who serve as former members of parliament, those who serve as members of parliament, those who are in parliament, those who are in the diaspora, and for even our TESCOM, everyone will be well organized. And we appreciate the energy, the love, and the determination that all of you have shown, and the commitment to work for the party. So, colleagues, let us remain calm and wait for the leadership of the party to announce the various sectors come May 2025. On this note, I want to assure everyone that His Excellency, our flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in the spirit of reconciliation, in the spirit of teamwork, in the spirit of bringing everybody on board, has everyone in mind. It does not matter whether you supported candidate A or candidate B. We don't have any faction in our party. What we have is the New Patriotic Party. It is only one faction, which is the New Patriotic Party. So everyone should have the mindset that anyone who wants to play a role, anyone who wants to support, who wants to assist, who wants to bring back the power, bring back the party to power in 2028, will be given the opportunity to serve. Thank you very much for your attention. God bless the New Patriotic Party. God bless all of us and all the activities that we have put into action. Come 2028, the New Patriotic Party shall surely come back to power. Thank you and have a lovely evening. Say omon form Nancy form near Shia say beboa Emma party baby anya kunya say obetime polling station elections nibi. Ye na kai say ade ba ko edi yenya or 2024 elections no a party for bibi nti omankoto aba ne nya ne say no mu free say abato na say koto no ya mom kwan amomanko gina bi. Timesre party for say ye makwan na party form be so omugina no omutimi gina bi say bebo ma party na ho ode no etima sorry e wo form uye no fiwa ye nyina be kai say sebi ye hwehwe se bedi nkunim 2024 ye nsanka no party no National Council eti abedioku a na Reverend Right Honorable for Professor Michael Kweda no na committee no eye hwehwemu no omode o masembe to party mpenifo nim na nsem a no mo hwehwemu no ebi na fa party no ho ebi nam se ne wa abam so na fa aban ho na ebi susu fa campaign a ye ho so offer party no aho asema the committee no be kan ye nyina ye de ye adwuma ene se committee no me yehu se ye party no se bia obakosem ye wokwan ye fa so ti ye NPP no ye nanam adwuma omo ye dankwa buzi adombo NPP se bia obakosem no eduru baabi no na abakosem na yira eduru baabi no se bi de nkofo hu ensoso ye da ye ne ya anom krantem enti yade a se party se be fa ntoma pefra ne ye se akoyechi na ade a na ma party ni yakono a eninti a man ye nnuama sebi omo the academia ye nnuama no mo di omadwuma no mo di party na chi ye nnuama mrante ne mabawa no mo wo sebi suapon mo a omo nyina aka ho a omo timi bua ne ekoto aba NPP di nkunu so suapon ne nyina no ese party ne fa to mapefra ne ese akoyachi ne hyehye no maye oye no free wa enam say ye party no ya so nhyehyɛ a yura Professor Michael Kwe na pam for the buy nti the party no ye dia buy a friend Patriotic Institute ni ye adwuma say better to ye party for any said or more you almost from your party executives. Now feel so I prince mama party no the bring friend research no in negusua party no the be juma. A toss beam as part of set party no ye share no my ye yet made in kunim 2028 elections no so party no the bring friend amendment over your constitution no you call a sacram kakra 2025 old legal. I dare my dimuti true into a choir's amendment and say, ye penny for your party phobia no mason party no, if you 92 ebe pim samri. Ebi do na no party ni kotraba ni enkayomo. Buha no aye constituency executive in the 90s, in the 2000s. Ebuha no aye mrashebe jeni peyama party no. Obuha kwa no aye parliamentary candidate ama party no. Obuha kwa beshe no aye former minister ama party, aye former minister da. Oye MMDC da. Sanko for ne kotraba na party ni nkam. Ebuha no de yaw. Say NPP kwa say yen kan me. So mon kan me dia na mu ye bibia me fam hunshim. Abakra me ntubi. Ye sa konya obeda ye say ye mom nya akoto bi no. Munya mu huye ankeka e ba party no obu ofifie no okwa abonten os ene NPP akan. Ni nyina no e hye ya party pinfo ye de ba say ye friend apart abembu nti amanko fa ankoto aba no ye behwe ni esi won kwan say be ya 2028 ye nkofo betima ato aba. So we ye no free wa ade ba kwa ekutia party no e de robo ho asem. Amanfo beka say NPP for de bia mo ye adwuma ne so mo ba ba mu a mutimi bo adwuma ma ye ho ban na mama mo nua mo e de ntro adada ganafo enti ne party no ye trans ye hwe ye no ye hu say nya ne empo na ye communication ho say bi e de robo ho asem na wo fom ye da na ma prince free UGCC mu nya eba eko UP PP asem eba PF empo eba NPP aprenso nyina no ya no mo kan sem twantro gu ye so a ye yi ano a na ho ayedin. The na constitution no e da question ye wo bibi e fredo communications committee omadwuma ne se ometra se omehye party na adwuma party ne sem omokan e benya hoɔden se e be ya nom entimi kansem entu futom Ghana fo nim na afiso ye mema ye kasa na ani ayehye na ye nam oye ne fruwa party constitution amendment e ba ye create bibi e fredo strategic committee ne nya ne se obi asori a NPP die amemmo ya de ne so baba to so abani nkoso ni nya ne se nya tumi na a ne ye refi ho se e be sa kwa abato because ka adwuma yera kofo be ye adwuma yera kofo adu be ye ke koto aba ne ne kwase kedi nkuku ni nya ne se ni ama amemmo na ayede esen amayosem no the strategic committee ya ti wo party nim for the first time adwuma e be ne se sabi ye ma ye ni free amayosem ho sabi ye ma ye ni free yachi nti sa strategic committee ne betrase ne ya dwene ama party no e wo ne echina ene afi ayeda yenim ene mfi eda yenim se be ya ye party no ye bon se sabi na amammu nko an ma ye tena akunya so na emum ye se party ne ye hye ya e betima aboa me yakoyanim o ye no free wa ene ye polling station executive no ye year free 5 e de akọ 7 aye de electoral affairs any communication abekao and for the first time part no ye to aba eye communication officers ni nya ne ye suahu na ye sua free 2024 abato na ekoye no any normal if we say ese ye Kenya ye communication no as a political party yaka we nya free awie no anche ana party no e de hyehyɛ ba se ye to aba ye presidential candidate se ye nyina bekaya efrititi 1992 be nyina no de bia no ye to aba ye to polling station ya to electoral area beto constituency ya to region ya to national and san ya to presidential but for the first time ye to aba say be ye presidential candidate me kai ebra party pinning for isi gina say ye ko ye presidential candidate nipa bebe no monte ase ebi kwa kaseti aye si ye nim de ye pese say party no so ne party for dodo na na ya adwen say anama ye tu ye aboa party no efse ni esua de fi 2024 abato ye koye ebra ye yi presidential candidate na ebre na etia ti enya kwan Anthony ye we enya kwan timen CCF ni nyina ka ho bi na ye to aba ye presidential candidate and next na men chadum ye saka ye Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia say ye presidential candidate no na as a political party ese ye adwuma yetim ka say ye yi ntem ye mre da ho nti won tena se abra won ye adwuma eno enam so Emma party no ekoye nhyiamu na wotwe a etwa mu eda ya wada na oba party member ye frɛ bibi standing committee in the national council na ewo and your sector committees were national executive committee na oba standing committees na enam say part no for the first time ye flag bearer di kainti your flag bearer nti na say committees no so esi ye etoso biem to me a national council no wono ema ho kwan say brano bia no committee no obetime yi bibia beka ho obetime bibia beka edi foforo so aba behim eno na national council share ya wo hwe committee to say finance committee, communication committee, strategic committee, organizational committee, disciplinary committee, national council ye hu ni adwuma ne nya ne say ye boaboa ye ho for 2028 elections. Now when na ye nyamu bi so kase oh na de na mo ntwen na mo prem ho se mo bekọ committees wa call sabi ye twen enye yi if is an amendment why your constitution we ye it means say normal wa kan nyina no eso de ye adwuma and some amendment we so entina sabi ye former executives no ye to presidential primaries omunya akonya ekoto bi tie kase ye twen a ka ye nwua mo omunya akonya to presidential primaries no ko omunya akonya no enkoto bi and some amendment ni so nti and na ye police station elections nipa 2 ye dey be county almost so contest bi and then na ye flag bearer no etimi ka say flag bearer one time was abra won nya adwuma say bi esi nya committee a e be ka ho e be boa ama na adwuma akọ nanim o ye ni free wa party no at sector committees na no ya wada edin e be to odwa no enye no na ye the total list of members are more sector committees no sabi oko 1992 a party no ne was sector committees ewo ho epenifo anom wo party no sector committees no bebre ne nya ne mankofo ekai se sabi sabre na yanko parliament in 1992 na NPP hu se yentimi nja amemo no kwa mendisifo na mum ese nya nipa o mekasama party no se ka finance wansem se ka health wansem se ka education wansem se ka foreign affairs wansem a ese nyankofo mom kasa wo hwe committee ane wo ho se wo hwe be be say committee on governance political committee unya penifo be ti say SA Odoi Sykes mo professor Edu Boahe mo Mr. Ajeni Boate mo Ira Hakmo Wusu Ajiman Ira Michael Kwe Ira Sabokujeto na Akufo-Addo Ira CK Tedem Ira Kwame Mpianimo omunya ye penifo a no mo sa political committee okọ be be ti say finance and economic affairs a bonus Ira Kwame Mpianimo no ka ho Dr. James Ufrata no ka ho Mr. Ya Osafo Mafo no ka ho Alhaji Dr. A Wayosani no ka ho Dr. Kojo Tutu no munya ka ho okọ constitutional and legal affairs a bonus committee ne wo no Ira body mens no ka ho Ira EB Search Hughes na Nado Danko Akufo-Addo ye maame Gloria Kufu ye papa Kojo Afrani Asiedu no munya ka ka ye papa Malik Yakubu Alasan omunya ka committees no okokra na usa hwabon oba foreign affairs a Ira Jekufo no adimu tintima pa in the early 90s 92 93 party sector committees no mu ye adwuma oba even trade industrial ye papa Koma Peto Kojo Boahe Ira Ose Ejemo Ira Osafo Mafo mo Ira Kofi Jima mo Ira Yanyame mo omunya ye penifo a in the early 90s no mo ka party ho sector committees oba agri and rural developmental Ira Pinmu Ira HK Osuajima mo Ira Dr. Kwame Safo mo Ira SK one year penifo na sabi in the early 90s no mo gina dem Parliament NPP ye call 96 ye call 2000 elections sabe mo be kaya NPP ne yenim se ye ka economy a edi na bebo anye Ira GH Mensa Ira Dr. Apreku tie ba se ye ka works and house na obeti Ira Hakma Osuajima modin wom ye ba educational Professor Dominic Fobi mo obeti omodim obeti Ira Kwame na Battles mo nya wodi ene ye bra Ghana for hwe omo hwe se de ye nkofo ne kasa omo yinsema no no mo challenge aban no ye do alternatives eba no oho na say edin no NPP for you have the men eba ye na so ye ba bem 2000 sector committees ne be nyina eba 2008 2012 2016 no ya sha na afanya adwuma nte ne no your party name who say, "Esi ye koye da demo, esi ye man for who say, NPP no, e da so men no ho, and nuntina National Council and then neck. Any year, a flag bearer, Dr. Muhammad Bamia, yes, sir, a set up committees, Libyan, say, be a Jumana yen and Namu yeno, on my bet was. And call for ye you almost set up committees, no. Now no a dinner ye boy, no. Sebi, and then no any total list. A young call for ye you almost say, Omoya a chauffeur, a massa committees, no. Say, be ya, a basse, ye been in Nakasa, ye information be a bit mania. Nyamiya Aduma 25th May, and they be inaugurated the full membership list of set up committees. No, nipa be break home. Obo se nkofo bi ha ye omo free as sitting members of parliament. Omo ka ho bi e be a former MPs. Omo ka ho ye diaspora party fund were reps wom, ye youth wing were reps wom, ye women's wing were reps wom, ye Tescom for ye Nasara for. Oba baby to say academia, almost a rep room, Oba baby to say former appointees, former MMDC. Yameya Adumna 25th. Ye no get to a party for Nabon say, Sebi, enjoy biwo. And to me for Akunya Weso, no master party for say, and she say a party in pinning for a year. Said the nano, ye Cassian to presidential primaries first, then confront Tiasiano, I chomo Tiasiano. Sassy would GDS say, South committee say Yati, and the Dumon Bayano. Obi a wo pepe bia so be ya adwuma ma party no ye ngane mu na committee na adwuma me ye no enka hanko a say be regions ni nyina no ye be various regional sector committees a omo nyina be ka ho a o be ya adwuma na o de aboa party no enti mesre ye nwa mo say ye nyina nya abotre ye enta party mpinifo echi na na me boa 25th no committee na be no gate no o meti ase hu say Obia said boy na adwon so bebo party no o ka ho bi ipa constitution dey make ho and obi kura won reach out and the committee will reach out to them say bi yenim say adwuma no so na opepa ye mrante ne mebru no ani adofo nya show say omo pese omo ye adwuma ne bi omo ka wasem no e ade party no so na say bi suggestions ni say bi adwonche bi amanfo bebe bia no e ade e de be ye adwuma etimedo obi ase say munya so e de team ya numre na yakopon ka osuru kokoko ameyoko ne ho na de hihye ne adwuma ye nyina no reorganization ye say party be fa no to mapefra no e be wi na dimu na nyame boa de hihye 2028 no yensa etimi aka medamu nyina amase.
Honest, I feel very sad for President John Dramani Mahama. I mean, the betrayal of President John Dramani Mahama is monumental.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a gentleman who came to the people of Ghana and said, look, there are problems with the country and I want to solve the problems in the educational sector, in health sector and so on. He proclaimed a reset agenda and he appointed people to assist him to realize that objective. And many of the people he appointed to help him to realize that objective, they don't just care. They don't care about reset. They don't care about restructuring the economy. They don't care about anything. All they care about is replacing him. What? Poor Mahama. Poor Mahama. And he's sitting there being held hostage. You know, and he's not been able to crack the whip. And they're dancing around him in circles and making nonsense of all the proclamations he has made. It's unbelievable. Visit the NDC social media platforms and see what is happening there. Who is talking about how to achieve the 24-hour economy? That's not their concern. It's about who is going to replace Mahama. It's so sad, it's unbelievable. So he appointed these people to help him leave a legacy. The people he appointed to help him to leave a legacy are saying to us that, oh, don't worry, very soon he'll become a lame duck. That's what they say.
Yeah.
They say, oh, by next year he'll be a lame dog. You have no power. We don't have to respect him. So let's start our campaign. What?
And they're actually campaigning. Can you just imagine?
Don't you pity President Mahama? It's so sickening, it's sad. And what does this tell the people of Ghana? What this tells the people of Ghana is that those at the helm of affairs don't care about us. They don't care about us. It's about themselves. Their ambition to become president. And sometimes I wonder whether they understand what it means to be president. Sometimes I suspect that it's about just driving in convoys with sirens and so on, the trappings of office. And quite frankly, David, some of the people who want to be president, look at them. Do they look like presidents? Do you think they have the capacity to be president? What is this rubbish? And it's happening all the time. In spite of caution by well-meaning people, it's getting worse. I know as a fact that the Council of Elders of the National Democratic Congress at some stage last year saw that this was causing a lot of problems and that it could divide the party, derail the party, and push the party into opposition, and decided to take some measures. I know what measures they took, and I know who went to the Council of Elders of the NDC to promise that they were going to stop. Have they stopped? It's getting dirtier and dirtier every day. It's sickening. Look, I want to read portions of what Mustafa Bandi said, how it is reported in the Hawk newspaper. It says, a storm is brewing inside the ruling National Democratic Congress as fears mount that the party could be tearing itself apart over who succeed President John Dramani Mahama. At the center of the drama is Mustafa Foyo Bandi, Deputy General Secretary in charge of operations and also a senior figure at the presidency, who has thrown a political hand grenade into the heart of the debate over secession. In a blunt intervention that has sent shockwaves through the party, Mustafa posed the explosive question, what if there is no flag bearer raised? His warning comes amid growing claims that senior party figures are quietly positioning themselves for power, sparkling what critics are calling early succession games. Inside government, Mustafa didn't hold back, accusing ambitious party members of turning internal politics into a free-for-all where anyone with influence is allegedly trying to build a war chest ahead of a future contest. He warned that such behavior risks dragging the party into chaos, arguing that the National Democratic Congress traditional method of leadership selection should not be replaced with open and controlled competition and so on and so on. You see, how can I disagree with Mustafa Bandi? How can I disagree with him? If you look at all the empirical studies which have been done, anybody who seriously is aspiring to be president, to become presidential candidate of a political party which is serious about winning power, ought to have $100 million in his back pocket.
Yeah, that was 2016.
His or her back pocket. $100 million.
Yeah, CGD, yeah.
So if that is at the back of our mind, and you see this flurry of people and so on, doesn't that frighten you? That 5 to 10 people think that they can raise $100 million from where? To go and contest. That in itself is very frightening. Okay? Now, anybody who declares that he wants to be a presidential candidate starts on the path of building the faction. Because it is A versus B versus C versus D. That already implies factionalism. And the factionalism is building up fast. Only 1.5 years after winning elections. It's sickening, it's dirty, it's nauseating. And I wonder why President Mahama continues to allow this to happen. I can't believe it. It's nauseating. Look, I have ears that hear some things. Today, if you go into the government machinery, some departments, some agencies, some setup is not working well. Do you know the excuse they give? Oh, we are not getting financing for our projects because the finance minister is interested in becoming president. And because he knows that I won't support him, he doesn't want me to succeed. It's all over the place. How do you tolerate that in government if you want to succeed? How do you tolerate that in government if you want to succeed? You see, the body things that you see, ministers talking to each other and so on, it's all superficial. Because deep down, everybody has a dagger ready to stab the other so that they become presidents.
And it's happening.
Oh, it's frightening. And what the example is given.
Why is it not frightening?
It's frightening.
Why are you asking whether it's happening? It's automatic.
Yeah, it's frightening, yeah.
You see, if you have two ministers who all are determined to compete to succeed President Dramani Mahama, do you think they will cooperate? Because every minister wants to outshine the other. What they have now is competition. It is not cooperation, it is competition. And it is a very dangerous thing to happen. And you see, my brother, let's be honest, that is why me sitting here, my respect for somebody like Haruna Idrisu has increased. When all this started, he came out publicly and said, I'm not interested. What I want to do is to help the president to achieve his agenda. He set himself out. That is why sitting here, my respect for the vice president has gone up. You know why? Because anytime she has been asked whether she's interested in succeeding Mahama, she says no. Her priority is to make sure that President Mahama succeeds. Anything after that is another matter. The priority now is to make sure that the NDC and the president succeeds in delivering the promises that they made to the electorate. It's not about who replaces him. Why? The mandate is for 4 years.
Yes.
The mandate is for 4 years. We have entered the 17th month after assuming office. All the key promises, how many of them have been achieved? And you are not focusing on achieving the key promises that you made to the people. Your focus is on pursuing a reckless ambition. It's unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. And in any case, all those clamoring to replace Mahama and so on, do they think that if President Mahama is not able, President Mahama and the NDC are not able to deliver the promises they made to the people of Ghana, any of them can become president? Their becoming president is contingent on the success of this administration, not on their beauty or their handsomeness or the size of their pockets and so on. It's about meeting, satisfying the people of Ghana, and they are not concentrating on that. All their concentration is on this useless, and excuse my language, there's no other word for it, stupid competition for power. It's unbelievable. But you see, in the long run, who is to blame? In the long run, who is to blame? Why is President Mahama not cracking the whip? Why is he not sacking them? Why is he sitting there for people to dance tango around him and mess his administration? They are messing him up. They are messing him up completely. The people he has appointed are not focusing on the job. They've shifted their focus from the job to personal ambition, and it is time for them to go. It is time, if President Mahama is serious about delivering on the promises that he has made to the people of Ghana, he needs an entirely new team which is focused on the job, not on personal ambition. Why? What is happening? It's so sickening, it's unbelievable. So sickening. You understand? And I want to hope that President Mahama will crack the whip. I want to hope that you will get a team which is focused on delivering the job. A team who would not be sitting down telling the public that you soon become a lame duck. A lame duck. A team which will work with him to the finishing line. You understand? A team which will be loyal to him. A team which will share his vision till the last day of his office. Not a team which is waiting for 18 months to election to dump him because he's a lame duck. Why? When he hears people referring to him as somebody who is just about to become a lame duck, how does he feel? What? President Mahama, you...
Can somebody make this argument that these are presidential ambition procedures and the maneuverings that are so happening are just necessary evils?
My brother, listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully.
Who is making the argument?
Leadership does not arise out of self-declarations. Empty self-declaration. That is not how leadership arises. Leadership arises out of commitment to a common goal. Today, if people in this administration are seen to be working hard to solve the problems of Ghana and so on, they emerge as leaders. Yes. It is not because they are proclaiming themselves as leaders or they are paying people to sing their praises. That is not how leaders emerge. You know, and I made this point last Saturday. If you join a political party, it means that your personal interests and ambitions, you know, have been subordinated to the collective ambition and interests. You understand? What they are doing shows that they have no respect for their party.
When you are given a political appointment as they have been given, it means that you have no right to think about your own interests. You have to think about the collective
interest. It shows that the interest of the NDC doesn't matter. The interest of Ghana doesn't matter. It's their personal interest which is superior. You understand? And to do this at the time when there are many foot soldiers, many people who are sacrificing for the party, some of who are unemployed. Some of the people today who are struggling for your party are unemployed. Some of them in the last 17 months have not had any appointments. Some of them in the last 17 months don't know how to feed their families and so on. And you are not concerned about that. You are interested in going ahead. As for you alone, you become minister, you become so and so, you continue to rise. The rest, you don't care about them. Who are you? What do you think you are? It's so sickening. I think that what Mustafa Gandhi has said is perfect. They should listen to Mustafa Gandhi. They should listen to Callistus Mahama. They should listen to the same voices in the party and focus on the agenda, the national agenda.
It will emerge. It will emerge. You don't have to proposition yourself.
In any case,
the party that we know,
watch the record of the NDC. What's the record
of the NDC?
Who became president because they maneuvered and did these kinds of things that they are doing? Nobody who did this in the party ever succeeded. Check the record. President Mahama himself, how did he become president? Did he do what they are doing? He didn't. In fact, I know as a fact, when President Mills decided on him as a running mate, and he was told, he was shocked.
I said they had to negotiate with him.
I can tell you stories. In fact, the first time he was told, he said, "Oh, why? He wants to go to school and improve his, educational qualification and so on." That was his first reaction. When he was first told. At that time, he was living in where is this place? Is it? No, he wasn't living in Johulu. He was then living in this place. It's Legon.
It's Legon, okay.
You know, when the news was broken to him, President Mills himself, did he do what they are doing to become president? When he was approached by their horse and so and told that Mr. Rawlings wanted him, he was surprised. You understand? Why? Nana Jane, did she do what they are doing? When Nana was approached by John Mahama, she was shocked. You understand? They should stop wasting our time. and wasting their time and the time of the NPP.
There should be some restoration of values. We are a social democratic party.